Hey guys, it's Obama with the Chaos Emeralds. Um, how's your guys days going? Okay, how they going? Have they been garbage because of the fucking coronavirus? They've been fucking garbage because of fucking coronavirus, man. Cause I feel you. I feel you, man. We're gonna be resuming Layers of Fear again, like we did last night. Or I did last night. But guys, what's your opinion on the Chaos Emeralds? What's your opinion? Is it a good opinion, or do you want them to be destroyed and sent off this earth? How? Because you're. Huh. I can't open this fucking cart scene. God damn it. Mother. Can the fucking thing stop it? Gamers. By the way, this game isn't scary at all. Just because I jumped once doesn't mean it's scary. Yep, this is where I remember we left off. Okay. So, oh yeah, we go out here. And that's about all I remember that we needed to do. Elevator, man. Let's go in. Nope. I swear, if you shut behind me, I'm gonna be angry. Wow, one door in this game that doesn't shut. On or stop? It only goes that way. Yep. Who's watching? Who's watching? Okay. Are these my grandmother's ashes? I'm kidding, my grandma's still alive. She's a good grandma. Alright. Nope. Only door. It's the baby man again. The baby man. Hey, baby me man. Mr. Baby Bigfoot Man. Even his hands are tiny. Oh, he's so cute. So cute. Trying to make sure there's no explicit paintings. I'm not looking up. What I saw, I know I Okay, let's read out this entire article. Well, I can certainly understand that you are upset, and I have nothing but sympathy for your wife, and wish to receive any further correspondence from you in this matter. Any skin graft procedure is extremely complicated and inherently associated with the risk of failure. Having stated that, I assure that you and my colleagues at St. Anne um, have made every effort to the to ensure a positive outcome for your wife. Personally speaking, I believe we have done the best job possible considering the extent of tissue damage. You 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 are of course entitled to your opinion, and I can certainly understand that your disappointment. What I do not understand is how you seem to write hateful letters to me or my fellow doctors will um ameliorate. What the, whoa, that's pretty cool. I've already stated I can certainly understand that you've been under a lot of stress of life, and thus I will not press charges if you refrain from our any future correspondence. Let me make it absolutely clear that I will not tolerate any further threats aimed at my staff, my family, or myself. If you wish to see psychological help, I can have my assistant provide contact information of several specialists who would be more content to help you get through these hard times. With regards and best wishes for you and your wife. Bro, this is pretty cool actually. Red. Okay, that's kind of cool. Red screen of death. And then a chair. Why is it getting louder? Shut up. Why? Why are all the doors so creaky, man? Like, I'm telling you, all the doors close behind me, man. Okay, but books. That's pretty cool. Upstairs? That can never be good. Is that like a fire? Or what is that? Wait, you guys can't hear it, can you? Okay. Um, the fire's up here. No, it's not. Okay. Looks like some old things. Um, that actually startled me. Holy crap. Dang it. Son of a bitch. I can't go back. I missed something, probably. Let's go to menu and see if I can redo it. Oh, it brings me back here. That's fun. So we go through here. Speed run. Speed run. Guys, speed run time. I haven't been here before. I haven't been in here. Like, bro, why does he have so much art in his house? My God! Holy crap! Oh, oh my God, that scared me. What happened? What? Some fruit and some chairs. Oh, I'm a vampire. Some fruit, a letter. some backwards text that I cannot read, and I'm not gonna try to. Can't get out. I'm stuck, aren't I? Fruit, wine. Is there something I need to click on or find? What? Dang it! Becoming a pussy. What does it say? Undone. It cannot be undone. It cannot be undone. It cannot be undone. Okay. Honey, I'm home. Why did the tone just change? Doggo? Doggo? No. Oh. Doggo. No. Can we get F's in chat for Doggo? F. Fat L. Wheelchair. Male. Oh boy. A once great artist, new painting laughed out of galleries. What we witness today, while entirely worthless in artistic terms, might be an invaluable case study for psychologists. These harsh words came from the Jason Hughes. The failed critic was one of the first to appear. The works of and will praise once contributed to his spectacular success. One asked if such brutal criticism was indeed called for, especially in light of the recent tragic events. Hugh responded, as critics, it is our duty to critique art, but not to judge the artist. The man has been through a lot lately and obviously has taken a toll on him. Still, if we remain silent and pretend this is even remotely acceptable, would be doing the artist a disservice. Other critics were only slightly more lenient as the wheelchair. I've been over here. I swear to God, if I have to see the doggo again. Okay, nothing I can interact with or pick up. Looks like a former president. We have decisions. Can I go through here? What? What? Rat? Art on the floor. Hole. What in the world? Did it like no clip through the floor? Am I going insane or something? Is this like an insane asylum? There's so many doors. Close. You only have one choice. Ow. Ouchie, man. Ouchie. That one didn't close. It's going to close any second. There it is. Let's see. The frick was that, man? Okay, turn on. I'm peeing. Um, someone walking on the wall or walking? Just walking, man. Oh, was it a bad marriage? Did it lead to a divorce? I need more details. What's that? A book. Boo. 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 That scared me, man. My heart's racing. What's this song? There is no song. There's just no song. I'm not touching it anymore. Why is there no song? Okay, I can't go up there, can I? Nope. Is everything just melting? Do I just keep turning it? I don't think so. Someone spilled their black milk all over the floor. What does it want me to do? There's not much to do, if you know what I mean. Okay, what's this? Prosthetic snatcher, why the damn leg? Insittable bastards can't afford a new one. Okay. And? What does it want me to do there? Is it on? Okay, what does it want me to do now? What does it want me to do that? What in the world is that thing? Can it please just play a song? I want to hear a song, man. Just play a song, please. What else do I need to press? Can I do it now? Doesn't play a song. I've been on this for like 15 minutes. I need to stop. Wait, was it playing a song? I just didn't have my volume on. I wasn't gonna be thoroughly angry. Bruh. Is that all it goes? What does it want me to do? I have no idea what I need to do. I have no idea. Oh, Jesus, does it have anything to do with this? Does that need to be on that side and then I need to, and then I need to do it or something? How about in the middle? That sounds like a curse.
A jar and a plastic tubing. I suddenly gasped for air. I knew I would be dead. I stuck the tube in a vein and sucked on it until blood filled my mouth. Then put the tube in the jar and it just kept coming. And a taste of copper haunted me the entire night. Why didn't I think of a syringe?
That's messed up. That's really messed up, man. Like, so clearly we have to leave it on here and then just. So what I take from this game and what I'm hearing, this artist is a psychopath that uses bodily organs, fluids, skin. I don't con- I mean skin is an organ, but whatever. Okay, now I can get out. Mirror. Or are we trying to finish his painting? We're trying to finish the painting. Oh, we have to find all of these things. That's awful. Oh, I'll find one more tonight and then we'll probably play some more later tomorrow. So we went that way and that way. Let's go this way. Okay, I don't see anything. I'm freaking Superman, man. Just like this. Just a tiny poke and then whoa! That's too much. He's too strong. That just changed dramatically. Okay, keep going, keep going, keep going. Come on, keep going. Creator's block, it's blocked off. What do I have to work with? Oh, crap. There's nothing. There's something. We got something, boys. The floor could collapse at any second. He's so pretty, so pretty. More notes today, even worse than before. The sad part is, I agree with every word. Okay. Lights, camera, action. Some drawings. I don't know what of. Okay. Okay. Dominoes. Cool. 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 And another note. I cannot read. That's good because I don't want to read anymore. Some books fell. So we have 3 more choices. That's a closet. That's a closet. Go that way. I'm going this way. We have chosen our storyline. I can't. Alright. Is that a phone? But like a backwards phone ringing. Please make it stop. If I am to be honest, I can't say that your letter was unexpected. Numerous colleagues have informed me that you had previously sought their advice in this manner, and well, it is perfectly understandable for a patient to demand a second opinion. I would think 16 occurring options would be enough. Still, out of respect for you and your wife, I have examined the case thoroughly and I have to concur, concur with my colleagues. Involuntarily, muscle spasms are not uncommon with patients who have suffered burns as severe as your wife did. What you refer to as a freakish grin or an unnerving yelp, though many would find some expressive hurtful, could indeed be manifestations of nerve damage. The other symptoms you mentioned do not seem to be psychological, but rather purely psychological, whatever, in nature. Traumatic events can lead to severe stress that is nothing to be ashamed of as to demand that we fix your wife. You have to understand that when what she went through cannot be undone with one simple procedure. It is a long, arduous process that will require all your strength and support. Please feel free to contact me or my colleagues for details to discuss a long-term rehabilitation program. Okay, so is this artist a doctor too? Oh god, now it is the Silent Hill game. Uh-oh. Can you please shut up? Please be quiet. I'm done with your BS. Oh my god. Please shut the fuck up. Stop. No. I'm going backwards. Stop. Get some help. Stop it. I'm going to vote. I'm going to BS. Please shut up. I'm done. Stop it. Now. Oh my god, I will jump off this fucking balcony and beat the living shit out of you. Stop. Now. Oh, huh. Can you please shut up? I'm getting annoyed. Okay, I'm getting. He's a little bit psycho. Oh my freaking god. Should we just, like, zoom? Shut up. No. Phone. Please, what do you want me to do, phone? I can't do anything for you. Okay. So that's changed. Dinner cycle. La, 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 la. One of these times, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be something I need, and not some stupid phone ringing over and over again, like 20 freaking times. Should I go try to go backwards? Like, see if that works? Yes, speak. I think I have to go backwards. Restless memories. Oh my God. Buried thoughts. What the? What in the world? Flapping horror, be quiet, eating other rats, constantly flapping. What? This time I want to shut the door. Okay, can't interact with anything. Okay, can't interact with anything. There. It's a floating fork. I mean, like it's standing up by itself. That's, you know what I freaking mean. What? Who's that? What? Run. Just run. Turn around. Nothing. Okay. Jump scares. Any jump scares. Any jump scares, everybody. Okay, so let's go down. Shut. Okay, go. Go down. Yes. Down is never good, but let's give it a shot anyway. I feel like it'll be spookier. Not more jump scares would be cool. More content. I call jump scares content. Any babies? Any babies, anybody? I have to read another letter. I don't want to. In any case, as your lawyer, I advise you to refrain from any imprudent actions. In other words, don't do anything stupid. We still have a chance of winning this. Believe it or not, I've gotten clients out of deeper shit than this. Just don't make it any worse. Lay low for a while and let me appeal the court order. The social worker definitely has it in for you. We can use this for our advantage. Portray you as a victim of the system, a husband in mourning, a momentary time lapse of reason, an overzealous bureaucrat. Trust me, this is our best option. Considering that you've been through lately, I'd say we have a good 50-50 chance of a good outcome, but not if you keep trying to convince anyone that you've gone completely insane. No more outbursts, no more rambling. Better yet, no public appearances whatsoever. You can still get your dad. So he maybe he started the fire and now he's going to court for it, and his wife probably died, or he killed his wife. Or he killed his kid if he had one or something. This story could be very, very deep. I just don't know it yet. Crunchy, crunchy, munchy, munchy. Crunch, crunch, munch, munch. Okay, there's only one door to go through. Guys, we're speed running it today. Okay. Crunchy, crunchy. Oh, ooh, is there something in the toilet? Crunch. Any snacks? I do not see any snacks. Baby, it's a baby. Silent floaters, the clog, the drains. Four in the water, no baths for me. Goodbye, baby. Crunchy, crunch. Munchy, munchy. Crunchy, crunchy. Munchy, munchy. Icky. Water. That looks like icky water, not good water. Icky water. Crunchy, crunchy. Okay. Anything the game specifically wants me to do. Can't click on anything. Let's shut the door. See if there's anything behind the door that I possibly missed. Um, that's a lot of rats, man. If I had that many rats in my bathtub, and I don't have any rats in my bathtub, I would get out there right away. I know I could just pull it right down. Okay, can't open that. Is this one locked? Nope. Body borrowers feeding on me, driving me insane, too fast to cut out. Oh, no. That's disgusting. Wall, wall, wall. Um, are they all just walls? Oh, changed. Changed, have you? What? Down, 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 down. Stop. Walk, 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 walk. Look at this. Look at anything you can see from the corner of your eye. Anything over here? Nothing I can click on. Go over here by the piano. Nothing. Oh. That's my channel right there. I'm gonna have to go download that on Spotify real quick. Boing. They should bounce. Um, am I the one making everything levitate?
I needed to remove the flesh from the bone. At first, I was lost as to how, but then I sawed it off with a handsaw, boiled it, then put the bone in a mortar. I had to get one, obviously. This was not something I'd done before. Finally, I mixed the dust with some white paint. It made for a lovely undercoat.
This guy's a psychopath. This guy is literally like Leatherface and his family from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's like taking human body parts, making it into furniture, but instead this guy makes it into fucking art. What the hell? Everything's going to shit. Crunchy, crunchy, munchy, munchy. Let's see what I add to this painting now. What does that mean? And that's gonna be it for today, guys. I'll see you tomorrow, maybe for another episode, if you guys like this, but I'll see you.